Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Heather Breckus. I'm the Business Development Manager with the City of Elmhurst. So thank you all for being here this evening. This is the third part in our four-part series, The Future of Entrepreneurship. And tonight's event is called Starting and Growing Your Small Business. So we are going to talk about some things specific to Elmhurst, but a lot of what we're going to talk about can be applicable to anyone who's starting a business or growing a business. I'd like to start by recognizing our community partners and sponsors for the series. So thank you to the Community Bank of Elmhurst, to Innovation DuPage, Elmhurst Public Library, and to Brew Point Coffee. Without their support, these events would not be nearly as successful as they have been. So likely some of you in this room are entrepreneurs. If you're not, maybe you're thinking about it. Maybe you think entrepreneurs are really cool and just want to see what they can do. So likely because of that, you have similar qualities. So maybe you have a strong work ethic, you're very passionate, maybe you're creative, you're focused. And if you're not, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So if you find yourself interested in these things, but find that maybe you're lacking some of those specific skills, we can help you be successful in those. So we can create the ecosystem that allows you to be a thriving business. So we're going to talk tonight about that ecosystem that we create that then can help you thrive. So first thing I'd like to do is introduce our panel. First we have Eileen Franz, the city planner for the City of Elmhurst, Mike Himmis from the Community Bank of Elmhurst, and Dan Ficini from Innovation DuPage. And I'm going to start here with Mike. So financing obviously is one of the first things people ask about when it comes to starting or growing your business. Obstacles are always include securing capital and things of that nature. So Mike, can you talk a little bit about what the bank can assist entrepreneurs with?
Sure. Stay here.
Yeah, you're fine. Yep.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I've prepared some comments. Hopefully I'm not too long-winded, but I wasn't sure at what stage everybody's at, so I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit of early stage funding as well as more mature company. A little bit about us. We're a community bank, family owned. We are not connected to any bigger bank. We've been here since 1993, and we have two branches, one on Butterfield and one in downtown Elmhurst, right across from the movie theater area. And our mission is very simply to serve our customers and community first above everything else. That's what drives us each and every day. My name is Mike Himmis. I am the Chief Commercial Lending Officer and part of the management team at the bank. We're a little unique compared to maybe another bank down the street in that we are a small business just like you, or just like you will be. We only have about 30 employees, and we face a lot of the same challenges you do, whether that's hiring, marketing, competing in your local market. We're kind of right there with you. So on to the kind of banking side of it. There's early stage funding, which may or may not involve a traditional bank. And I'll touch on some things I've seen over the course of my career. In general, if you're looking for the three things any bank looks for, it's cash flow, collateral, and the strength of your personal guarantee. No matter where you go throughout your entire career, those are the three things that will guide a bank's approval process. So early stage financing, of course, friends and family. Who do you know? What do they have? Will they lend you money? Will they gift you money? Some people may have inheritance. Some people may have a rich uncle who's, you call up, say, yep, you know what, take as much time as you want, pay me back. I would encourage everybody to brainstorm. You probably already have, but if you haven't, brainstorm who might be in your lives that's willing to help you out. That's the first place to start. Then you start getting into other options out there, such as a business credit card. You definitely need that to get going. More than just your debit card. Try to put some on credit and use that as a tool. Banks will look at, if you want to go more of a traditional route, I've seen loans on personal assets. If you have a marketable securities portfolio, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, banks may look at that. do a loan off those, or using your house, home equity line of credit. I've seen a lot of early stage businesses use their homes as collateral because early on, or even before they've started, you don't have a lot of operating history to get a loan approved in your traditional underwriting. So a bank might be able to use, the value of your personal assets to get you started before you kind of graduate to traditional commercial loans. There are a couple resources out there aside from those things that some of you might be thinking, I've already gone there. It's not an option for me. I don't want to put my house in the mix. There's a group that was at a couple months back, Allies for Community Business. Melissa's used them. I have referred a number of clients to them. They are a fantastic resource, not only for business coaching, but for startup financing and early stage financing. You could apply right on their website. They do loans between $500 all the way up to $100,000. There's two different programs. The first is based on your credit report, bank statements, or a profit and loss statement. And then the other one's a little bit more involved. At the larger size from 25 to 100 is more financial statements, tax returns, credit report. But they don't really need collateral like a lot of banks do, so I find that that is a perfect place to start if you're finding obtaining traditional commercial financing challenging. It's a great place to start. And then you get into the SBA. So I think it's common, people think that SBA loans are very readily available. It's a lot more involved. The underwriting is often like a traditional commercial banks. They do exist to get you over the collateral hurdle. If you don't have, say you're asking for a certain loan amount, a traditional bank, you have to have probably all of it secured by something. SBA gets you over that. The two main programs the SBA offers is a guarantee program, which is, like I said, to overcome the collateral challenges, and then the 504 program. That's for more kind of established businesses. If you're looking to secure, say, you buy your first building, or you're looking at a big piece of equipment, the SBA 504 program is available to help you put less money down, and there's some other favorable parts about that structure. But the SBA is definitely a good resource to look into if you're there. There's a few other ideas. I will caution you to look at online lenders. There's a lot of them out there. If you just Google search, you could find a bunch of them pop up. They're expensive. Make sure you read the fine print. I'm not an expert in any of it, but I have heard some horror stories about I wasn't quite sure how much they were charging me. I mean, it's like credit card interest rates. So I would explore the other areas before you move on to an online lender. Transitioning now to kind of, once you've been in business for a year or two, that's the perfect time to start looking at a traditional bank. We've been able to do loans less than the traditional banks are. I think a lot of banks will require at least 3 years of historical financials. Depending on the situation, we could look at less than that. And those take the form of three things mainly: a working capital line of credit, an equipment loan or term loan of some sort, either to help you buy assets or even purchase a company if you get to that point ever. And then finally, a commercial mortgage. So if you get to the point you want a commercial condo unit, you want to buy your first building, that's where you would go. Traditional banks do that. We do them all the time. I think that's probably the most common loan that I've done at the bank, as well as quite a bit of equipment financing. So the only things I want to say about that, like a traditional line of credit is based on your business assets. If you have accounts receivable, inventory, or equipment, those will be used as collateral. There are certain margins banks work on that fully secure those loans. To apply for a loan, you need to make sure you have a few things, no matter where you're going or any of the options I touched on. You want to make sure you have annual business financials to submit, or interims, depending how long you've been in business. Your business tax returns, your personal tax returns, personal financial statement, and anything on the collateral you're willing to put up to secure the loan. That's pretty much it. I guess I wanted to just close by saying I got in this business the overarching goal of helping others in my own little way in the economy. And if I could help a business grow and thrive, then I can in turn help those employees. That puts food on everybody's table. And I think that's kind of what drives everybody at Community Bank of Elmhurst. So I'm thrilled to be here. And please ask me any questions you have, either during the Q&A or afterwards. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mike. I would also add to what Mike is saying. In the folder that all of you had at the entry, if you didn't get one, we'll make sure we grab one for you. There's a document in here that we created just for this event. The first bullet point is financing, and there's information on the community bank, everything that Mike's talked about, and then there's actually one that actually highlights Allies for Community Business and the Small Business Association. There's still a lot of other funding opportunities, and I would, Mike is a professional in the financing world, so I would really listen to what he has to say, but there are some other really creative ways to get money. Well, there are less opportunities for them, they're out there. So I'm going to pick on Melissa for just a quick second here, but there's things like pitch contests where you can get money from. So if you have a business and you want to enter something like that, you can get, I would say, anywhere from like $100 to thousands of dollars for things like pitch contests. There's an organization out there called Angel Investors where you can find people that have money that want to invest it. So these are highly sought after opportunities, but they're always available and things you can look into. The very back page of this document actually has additional resources, and some of those links for those pages are in here. So.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of grant programs out there
there's
that,
a ton,
that I haven't explored much of, but I know they're out there. State of Illinois might offer some. County you're in, DuPage County might have something from time to time. You'll see that. So I would just put in a quick Google search every now and then to see if there's local grants available.
Yep, there's always a lot of grant options. So sometimes the traditional funding isn't necessarily what people are looking for or what they can do at this time, but there are opportunities for grants and things like that. Thank you again, Mike. I appreciate it. Does anyone have questions right now for Mike, or otherwise we'll move on and do questions at the end? Go ahead.
So you said like the third option was the strength of your personal guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like kind of based off of projections that you've done research on for other businesses in that field that you're looking to go into, or?
Yeah, it's more financial, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just, I was just to say, if you could repeat, he's asking about the strength of the personal guarantee.
Yeah. Basically, more definition on what a strength of personal guarantee would mean, whether that's your background or your resume. And that definitely helps get a loan done, but it really comes down to the dollars and cents. I've seen a number of situations where an entrepreneur is just getting going and their working spouse has a steady job and is able to, at least on paper, support whatever the debt service, the principal and interest payments would be as a global, household. And so we'll oftentimes look at things that way, where it's like, well, yeah, they're just getting off the ground and they're not making money yet, but the husband or wife is doing well in their profession, and they don't have to sign on the dotted line most of the time if they're not an owner of the business. But we can look at that as some additional support. So other things, if you've been a good saver and you have money in the bank, doesn't mean you'll have to pledge it for the loan, but just to see that you're financially strong to be able to kind of absorb the bumps in the road. So that's kind of, and we look at the amount of debt, personal debt. If you see a clean credit report, not a lot of missed payments, low usage on your credit cards or lines of credit, and look at that too. So, yep. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else have a financing specific question? Yeah, go ahead.
What's the benefit of, let's say, using a bank for a loan versus personal financing?
A lot of people say they want to build business.
Oh, sorry, can you repeat the
Oh,
question?
yeah.
What's the,
What's the benefit of using personal financing versus business financing? A lot of people don't want to put their personal assets in the mix, but I've heard many times over the course of my career that so-and-so wants to build business credit. There is no business credit report that I've ever come across that's worth looking at. You know, D&B Dun & Bradstreet or some one of those services, it's only as good as the information going into it, and nobody reports. It's not like a personal credit report that you actually, you know, publicly report to these systems. So the advantage would be only if you wanted to keep your personal situation as far out of it as possible. It's a great solution in that it's easier to come by. I've seen people get home equity lines of credit, which is, we offer it for, it's a 7-year line of credit, and the analysis is only focused on your personal income and expenses. So you can lend your own company the money and probably take a write-off for it. So there's definitely an advantage to doing that. And I've seen it all the time. But your business also might get to a size where you can't do that anymore, or you don't want to do that anymore. So say you'll eventually need more capital than the equity in your house will allow for. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Those are the next step.
Yeah. Anytime you're starting up using savings or personal loans, that's typically what I've seen. Aside from some of these other outfits, Allies for Community Business, SBA, and then you eventually, when the time is right, you'll want to kind of graduate into traditional bank financing. So, but yeah, if you have, so you've been a good saver, and this is maybe you're moving from one career to the next, and you got some assets that you can leverage. I've seen people use, and I'm not saying you do this, but I've seen people take loans off their 401k. You know, I probably wouldn't, but or IRA. I don't know what the exact rules are because that's not my specialty, but I know people have used those assets to get money. I've seen people liquidate their retirement to get money for their business. I would not advise that either.
Yeah, no, I like the LLC and keep everything as separate as possible. And if you loan money, you write a loan to the company.
Yes.
And you pay yourself.
Yes, so you basically are the bank. I've seen people use their cash value of life insurance, where you can borrow on that and lend it to the company. So, and that's, you know,
So
I mean,
at that point, come get a loan.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We've seen it done pretty much every which way, but everybody's situation is different, you know, and I'd be happy to have a discussion to see, you know, if that's something you're considering. I can let you know if it's something I'd recommend or not.
Okay.
But
I owe Rich a call, so.
yeah, there's definitely a place for financing your business yourself through a bank, but maybe not to the business yet. So,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
So again, the document in your folder does have a QR code that scans you directly to the bank. So you have Mike's contact information and all the information the bank could do, along with QR codes for Small Business Association and Allies for Community Business. There's also one other page, and I know Mike cautioned against this a little bit, but some of your online things, there's a page all about donations, crowdfunding, things like that. So there are some reputable sites out there. I don't know if you have anything to add to it, but like
No,
Kickstarter,
no.
Kiva, places like that where they're more reputable.
Yeah, no, I would encourage you to look into it.
Right.
I'm just saying, be careful with
Right.
the rate. They might say initial rate, and then you get there and it's a floating rate, and all of a sudden, like
Yeah.
we've experienced over the past year, it just skyrocketed. I will give credit to Allies for Community Business because they have a fixed rate program, so you know what you're getting. A lot of these credit cards or some of these online lenders, yeah, just make sure you know how it's priced.
And if crowdfunding, like if you're doing GoFundMe or if you're doing Kickstarter, Kiva, places like that, sometimes there's a fee that they take. So just be aware of what those things are when you go into it. Some of them are much larger than others, or they're percentages of what you bring in. So
SBA especially. So SBA's, if it's the right solution for you, it's great, but there's a 3% fee on a lot of that, and that can add up. So that kind of comes in at the end sometimes when you're working with the SBA. It's like, wait a minute, there's 5 fees on here. So yeah, just be careful. Just make sure you read it all before you sign.
I'm going to kind of talk about something for a minute, and then we're going to come back to our panel here. So Elmhurst Public Library was part of this event. Unfortunately, they were not able to be here this evening. So I do want to share that your local libraries are an amazing resource. So especially our library, we have a, someone reminded me, 5-star library is what they're called. I believe it's a 5-star library. So they have a business center with workspace. They have access to copy centers and poster printers, access to the Makery, which you can go in and there's so many amazing creative tools in the Makery to use. 3D printing, meeting rooms and group study rooms. They have a creative studio. So if, let's say you are someone who wants, you're a musician, you can go in and do a track in their space. You can rent that space. They have business programs that feature professional speakers and monthly business connection opportunities. And they do have a business service manager. So there is a QR code for that in here. If you are an Elmhurst business or an Elmhurst resident or someone with an Elmhurst library card, you can use all of that for free. A lot of your local, if you're not an Elmhurst resident, many local libraries offer this too, though. Next, we're going to move on to Innovation to Page. So Dan, I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit. So this is a business incubator and accelerator. This is what Innovation to Page is. Can you talk a bit about your resources and your signature programs?
Sure. Innovation to Page is a business incubator and accelerator. And basically all that means is that we're a community built around the needs of startups, entrepreneurs, and small businesses. So we really have 4 different stakeholders that we really try to serve, or we bring together in order to provide resources for entrepreneurs. We have members, so we have about 100 members that are part of Innovation to Page. So these are companies that are starting their own businesses. And we have some signature programs. One is Owner to CEO. That's like a 10-week course, and it's kind of a mini MBA, and then we have a series of workshops that take place throughout the year. Then we have mentors and partners, and those are two kind of connected because a lot of times our mentors come from our partners. We have more than 50 partners that we work with, over 13 chambers of commerce, including the Elmhurst Chamber. 7 different universities, including Elmhurst University, that we collaborate with on a regular basis in order to provide resources for our member companies. So sometimes that comes in the form of interns. We have the Small Business Development Center right upstairs from us at the Glen Ellen Civic Center. So if you want to prepare for that SBA loan, or you want to find out what other resources are available to small businesses, that's a great resource. That's provided by the SBDC upstairs, is connected to the College of DuPage, as is Innovation DuPage as well. So we have more than 50 partners, and then we have mentors. So if you're company that's having a problem, has a hurdle to overcome, and is just looking for advice, we can connect you with a subject matter expert in that specific area that'll help you get over that hurdle. So we partner with, I think, 5 different banks. So if there's something you're looking in terms of funding, preparing for a loan, how to make sure your personal finances are in line in order to get that loan, we can help you around those things as well.
Thank you. I think that we had talked through this ahead of time because I was just going to talk about the SBDC, which is DuPage County has an SBDC, so Small Business Development Center. This is completely free to businesses. So there is a sign-up process, and it may not be the fastest process just because it is free and they have a limited number of staff to work with people, but they will do things like guidance on your startup, growth, management of your small business. They offer training and workshop opportunities. They'll help you write your business plan. So they're not going to write it for you, but they will give you the tools and resources to write it. They will know about grant opportunities and other funding opportunities. And they are through Dan had said, through COD as well.
Yeah,
So-
and they have a series of in-person and online workshops. They're one of our providers in terms of the workshops that we provide. We also work with SCORE Fox Valley in order to provide workshops that are needed. Our next workshop is October 25th, and it's about developing your sales plan and your sales channels. So if there are any companies that are interested in doing that, that's open to the public and free of charge. All you have to do is go to innovationdupage.org and sign up, and that's available.
So there is item number 4 is Innovation DuPage has a QR code that will take you to their page and have contact information for them. There's also one in here for the Small Business Development Center. And again, through telepathy, we talked, and you talked about SCORE, which is a Service Corps Retired Executives. So SCORE, again, it helps entrepreneurs start, grow, and successfully exit a business. So maybe you are, say, I'm getting close to retirement, how do I move on from this? They can help you with something like that. They offer the majority of their assistance free of cost and have a network of over 10,000 dedicated volunteers. So again, these are two resources that are free, and thank you again, Dan, for mentioning those.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they're partners of ours, so happy to. If I could just mention one
Yeah.
more thing about our
Yep.
membership. We have a couple of our affiliates here today, and so our membership, actually, if you think about a company, starting their own business, it's a lonely journey. It's hard to do it on your own. So if you're looking for that community of people who want to support one another in their journey, and you have an opportunity to work alongside other entrepreneurs and like-minded individuals in order to grow your company, that's really where Innovation DuPage comes into play. Our memberships start as low as $50 a month, but we'll never deny anybody access to increased resources. I think our top level is $225 a month, so we'll scholarship you up to the next level in order to get those resources that you need. And we have 4,500 square feet of shared office space, so it's an alternative to starting it in your basement or garage, or, instead of doing that, you can come in and have an office space and have a mailing address. And it's a place where you can hold meetings, and, we're not too far away from Elmhurst, so there's a lot of Elmhurst companies that are coming to us as well, so.
But we do have a couple of people in the audience tonight that have been or are a part of Innovation DuPage, so thank you again.
Yeah.
Anyone have questions for Dan?
Yes.
Could you mention where you're located again?
Yes, we are located in downtown Glen Ellen in the Civic Center, so 535 Duane Street.
Any other questions for Dan? Okay, we're going to move on. So we've talked about funding, we've talked about some of these free resources that you have, we've talked about incubators and accelerators, but the most important thing, or maybe one of the more important things, is what about location? Where are you going to locate your business? So you may be out of your house, or you may say, I want brick and mortar, and you're trying to decide where the best space for you is. And I would say start with your local EDO, so your local economic development organization, which could be your chamber of commerce, it can be your municipality, like the city of Elmhurst. Reach out to them, and they will have those resources to talk to you about locations. I want to talk a little bit about what our development team does. So I'm going to actually pass this to Eileen France and have her tell you a little bit about our team.
Thank you. So I am the city planner at the city of Elmhurst. I work in the community development department. So the community development department includes our building staff and our planning and zoning staff. We also work very closely with Heather as well. So we frequently get phone calls from people who are looking to locate their business in Elmhurst, and they want to make sure that the property has the proper zoning and that the building itself meets all the building code requirements for the proposed business. So we typically invite people in to come and sit down and meet with us so we can talk through the zoning. Zoning, includes not just whether your business is allowed in a particular district, it also has regulations for parking and signs, so other things that we need to make sure a business can meet. Our building staff also will participate in the meeting if you are changing the type of use. You may be looking at a property that was an office and you want to convert it to use it as a restaurant. There'll be some significant upgrades that'll need that will need to be made to the property, and our building staff can advise you on what those might be. Depending on what your business is, we might include our fire department, some staff from our fire department as well, to talk about whether a sprinkler system might need to be added, or an alarm system, or something along those lines. We also meet with people who have not selected a space yet, and Heather assists us then with being able to, advise people of where there might be properties that are vacant that would meet the zoning requirements for your proposed business. So in addition to just sitting down with people and having conversations about what can and can't be done at a property, our building staff will actually walk through a property with someone, give sort of a punch list of items that may need to be done depending on the business that you want to have occupy the space. Our fire department can walk through as well, and are also willing, our staff is also willing to walk through during construction and help people make sure that you're meeting all the proper building codes. We can't make any recommendations at the city, but we do have lists of general contractors, architects, engineers who have done work in Elmhurst, so they're familiar with our codes and our ordinances. The last thing I want to just comment on is we have a few TIF districts in Elmhurst, and in those districts there are some grant programs. There's a retail grant program, a facade grant program, and a sign grant program. So for example, a sign grant is a reimbursable grant program, but if you're installing a new sign, you can get up to 50%, but no more than $2,000 of the cost of the sign reimbursed to you if you meet the qualifications for that grant. But we like to see ourselves as a resource. We're happy to sit down with people anytime and talk through a particular property or just areas of the city that may have the zoning that your business needs.
Yep. So I'd reiterate what Eileen said. I think the phrase we hear all the time is use us as a resource. So we really encourage that. And even if you maybe aren't necessarily in Elmhurst but just need some guidance, you can use me as a resource, because maybe there's someone I know that I can pass you on to help. So our goal is always, again, to create that ecosystem that allows you to thrive in whatever you're doing. So I do want to add on to a few things Eileen's talked about. So the city also has, we talked about the grant program. There's a retail grant program, so if you're opening a retail business, and a facade grant program, facade and life safety. So I have actually put copies of each of these grants in here, so if you're looking at Elmhurst, a number of communities do offer incentives like this, and we like to think that Elmhurst does it a little bit better, but a lot of places do offer it. Ours are in here, so if you'd like to look through that, if you're looking for a space in Elmhurst, these can be beneficial to you. Also in your folders, there is some information about the SBDC in here, and then the last one I want to talk about is the DCEO. So this is through the state, so this is the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, and there's actually a regional team, so they're called Team RED, which is Regional Economic Development. And I've put in here their most recent handout, but you can see this in your folder. It's all of their business assistance programs and resources. So it's a nice little two-sided page of all the things that they offer. This could be a great resource for you too, so reaching out to them. We have actual context there that we can share with you, so if you want to talk to a real person and not just go to an inbox, I can give you that information. They deliver impactful programs and services for all of the following offices. So broadband development, business development, community assistance, community development, employment and training, entrepreneurship, innovation technology, film, minority economic empowerment, regional economic development, tourism, trade and investment, urban assistance. And so they cover a lot of things, and they have a lot of opportunities. So there's just another resource that's out there. I think I said in the beginning, we're creating this ecosystem, and if we didn't touch on a topic that you wanted to hear about tonight, please reach out and let us know, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many resources out there for you. We can find it, or I can find it. Someone can find that resource. I guarantee you that it's out there. We can introduce you to it. So even if we didn't talk about it tonight, it's there. I do want to end on a couple more things about the city, things that we offer to our businesses. So if you are a current business owner in Elmhurst or looking to open business in Elmhurst, first thing I want to talk about is our Explore Elmhurst. Explore Elmhurst is a tourism, Cass, what's the word I'm looking for? initiative. It's a tourism initiative. We just had it rebranded. If you haven't seen the site, it's beautiful. We offer trainings on how to use the site. You have the opportunity to market your business. You have your own kind of landing page on the site. You can put special offers on the site, coupons on the site. You can put your events on the site. All of this is free to you. It's a beautiful page. It's the first thing that you see when you Google Elmhurst. It pops up. It is an amazing resource for our businesses or anyone that's looking to open a business. And you don't have to have a brick and mortar to use this. You can be a home-based business. You don't have to be a restaurant. You don't have to be retail. You can be a salon or a spa. You can be someone who does counseling out of your home. You could be a baker. It doesn't matter as long as you are a business and have a business license in Elmhurst. This is an available free tool to you. So if you don't know about it, if you're in Elmhurst and don't have that set up, please reach out because we can make sure your account's active. We can do one-on-one training for it as well. So we can make sure you are available how to use it and are using this free resource. Okay. I would also say this is part of our entrepreneur series. So this was a 4-part series this year. We started with Makers and Shakers back in April. In May, we did a event on diversity and inclusion. And then we have this event, and then we're following at the end, kind of a culmination of everything. We have a makers market that's coming up. So we will have a whole new series next year. I think we'll probably still have makers, shakers in some capacity, but we're going to have some new things to look forward to. If you are not signed up for our business newsletter, we can get you signed up for that as well. All of this information goes out in here. Any opportunities for grants or for sponsorships or partnerships with the city or city businesses, city events. When I say city, I mean as the whole, not specifically the city of Elmhurst. But those are shared in there, so there's all of these opportunities that come up. And then again, all the handouts are in here for everything. Your business license registration is in here, and occupancy permit information is in here. So anything you need to know about the city of Elmhurst is here. My business card is also in here. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I think that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions? We'll start our question and answer if you have anything for anyone. Yes?
Do you have any metrics around the Explore Elmhurst initiative, campaign, whatever?
Yeah, what kind of metrics are you
Like,
looking for?
Last year, since it's been running, how many people have gotten in the program, has been, sales flow through type of thing?
So it does have the ability to track that. It recently launched, so within the last 2 months. So I would say that the new Explorer Elmhurst doesn't have like a good picture of that right now, but we can keep collecting that and show that to you. And as a business, if you have an account in there, you can actually run your own reports. It'll show you how many people land on your page or visit your page or where they go and to and from. So it does have the ability to do that. Yep. Any other questions? Yes?
Do you have a database of like accountants and lawyers that would help with small businesses?
I don't specifically, but the library does. So the business, that's a resource that the business services at the library can provide for you.
Okay.
We network with a lot of them too, so if you reach out, I might have some suggestions.
Okay. Awesome.
Any other questions? No? Okay, well, I thank you all so much for being here this evening. We're ending right on time because Dave Oberg, our museum director, is going to take us over to the museum and give us a tour of their brand new exhibit, the Lost Department Stores?
Lost
Chicagoland Department Stores.
And that's not a
Thank
downer
you.
note to end on. They've
No.
all endured for multiple generations, and the end of the
Thank
exhibit
you.
talks about innovation and new ways retail is finding a way to not
Yes.
just survive, but thrive.
Yes, and it's really exciting. We're excited to see it. So thank you again all for being here. Please grab some food on the way out if you want, and then we'll head over to the museum. Thank you.